because it's often, a bit wacky and has like no actual, like people are like, I don't know what we're doing, but we're gonna do it, you know. And I love that. That automatically lets me know I'm with my people because we just feel a tingle or we feel an idea about something and then we trust it and we go for it. So I'm just grateful you're here. I'm always grateful whoever shows up, whenever they show up and however they show up. And the purpose of me having this orientation with you is I want next year to be as um fun, easeful, joy-centered, and supportive as possible for all of us. And in order to do that, I wanted you to not feel lost in what options, opportunities, ways to tap in. I want introverts to know their best way, earth signs, water signs, everybody, a very zodiac inclusive environment for everybody to figure out their hows and whens of how they want to tap in. And also, like, what do I mean when I say joy curious? How the Marley Ayo definition of joy differs from other definitions you may hear, and just to make things like really crystal clear for you all. So that's my job and my goal in the next year. My job is also to make sure that's clear for me so that I'm not stressed. I don't like to be stressed either. Um, and so if you want, you can put in the chat a couple things. I love zodiac signs. So you can say where you're from and your zodiac sign. You could also say how you know me or introduced to the work and what your like why you decided to come, like why you were curious in the first place about talking about joy curiosity. And you can put that in there at your leisure. I'm going to share a screen with you all so that you can see. And I normally don't do presentations either, but again, I was trying to be an organized person for y'all today. So I will share this with you. And again, you can introduce yourself in the chat because you'll probably be seeing more of these folks throughout the year. All right. Can everybody see okay?
Yes, it's so pretty.
Thank you so much. So my daughter is doing all the artwork for this campaign, Talani. And some of you may know her from she was on the Shape and the Shift episode with me talking about love. And so she's doing all this work for me. I know I love it. Um, and I'll share more about the artwork and how I want you all to be able to have access to the artwork and things of that nature. So we're doing a year of joy curiosity, and I want us to be clear about what that means and what that looks like and what that feels like. Um, let's see. So I want to welcome you because I know automatically that you are a joy seeker just by the fact that you showed up here. So for us to be joy curious is to allow all possibilities to be explored without worry, fear, or the need to control. And that sounds like it kind of sounds simple and it can probably sound complex. I think it can be easier than we make it. And that's why I want to help coach us through that this year. But I'll say it again, to be joy curious is to allow all possibilities to be explored without worry, fear, or the need to control. What that implies is what I believe is true is that worry, fear, the need to control things, it gets in the way of us tapping into all the options that are available to us. And ultimately, for me, joy is about choice. I'll give you the Marley Ayo definition of joy. I'll be sharing this with you in different forms so that you have it available to yourself. But the definition of joy for us is every living thing's innate and inextricable right to choose at any and all moments what brings them the maximum experience of aliveness that they desire. I'll say it again in that full form, and then I'm gonna give you a smaller form. Joy is every living thing's innate and inextricable right to choose at any and all moments what brings them the maximum experience of aliveness that they desire. And in a nutshell, it's the right to choose my own experience according to how I feel and what I desire. And that can be at any given moment without explanation or justification. When we talk about joy, it's really not about um, a condition. It's about something that we brought with us into this world, into this life. The opportunity to explore our own joy, the joy that we came here with, the permission we have to grant ourselves to access it because of what we were born into is what this practice is about. It's really about really powerful choices that we get to make for what makes us feel alive in this life that, as far as we know, there's only one of. There may be different cycles of it, but it won't look like this one. The next time, maybe we look like something completely different. So, as far as we know, we have this breath, this amount of breath to explore all the possibilities of aliveness that we desire. How many of us can say that that's how we live? Most of us have not considered that every breath we're taking that is not designed or chosen by us consciously is a breath that goes into someone else or something else that is the construct of somebody else's belief system or mind. One of the ways you know when you're not in joy is when you have adapted and adopted someone else's beliefs. And you know that because you're not experiencing joy in it. Sometimes our beliefs and our worldview are compatible. Sometimes our needs are compatible, but sometimes they're not. And when they're not, and we've chosen someone else's over our own, we can feel it. So when we talk about joy, we talk about joy as a metric, as a reference point for, are we experiencing a life of our own designation? Are we experiencing a life that we designed and we wanted, that we crafted consciously, that we chose based on what feels good to us? Did we trust it? And if we didn't, we may be experiencing a lack of joy, and that's not something that we should shame or blame ourselves for. That's just data. That's just information for us. Some of the people on the call with us today, they've been a part of our Joy Centered Living community for some time. And we've gotten to experience in that space, in that cohort, what it feels like to practice and be supported in the practice of choosing based on what makes us feel the most alive. One of the things I shared with them recently is, although we have this lovely community, I would I want all of us to be able to walk into a world that feels that way, to a city that feels that way, to a work environment that feels that way, to a country that feels that way. And I don't think that's impossible, because the same way we decided to do the shit we're doing now is the same way we're going to decide to choose joy. Same valve for a different intention and a different purpose. We are already deciding. We are already believing. We're just believing something's more than our own joy. So this year is one of four pillars that we're going to be exploring. And I'm only doing it one at a time because it's a lot. And we move really quickly, too quickly. By we, I mean myself. It is I. And we need an entire year just to explore the concept that I just said, just to explore the idea that we have all these possibilities that we can choose and we have a right to, is going to take us a year. Why? Because everything in our bodies is booby trapped against joy. So much, so much that we encounter, so much that we encounter systemically, so much that we've encountered from our families of origin, so much that we've encountered from romantic relationships, makes choosing joy feel selfish, wasteful, frivolous, luxurious, momentary, fleeting. There may be other words you all want to contribute, right? But there's a reason joy becomes difficult for us to choose. And this year is super important for us to sit in that curiously and without judgment so that we can undo those booby traps. I guarantee you, as we do this work, it'll be tender. And there's no avoiding that. I guarantee you that most people individually don't seek their joy, not because they don't want it, but because they fear the changes they'll have to make to have it. They fear the decisions. They feel they have to ask themselves tough questions. They'll feel that they fear that they'll have to face certain places where they've negotiated joy out of the equation, right? So our intention is to saturate our global society with these first three pillars: joy, curiosity, joy experiences, and joy politics, in order to shift our global consciousness to center joy in all areas of life and decision making. We want to make global joy a metric and a mandate for living. Like, we want to envision UN meetings where they're deciding whether or not they should go into a country or not, and someone can legitimately ask, well, will that bring joy? And it be taken seriously because it's that central to our culture. And the way we start off that journey is joy, curiosity. Anyone have questions so far? I know it's just the beginning. Does that make sense, or anybody want to share or add in? I'll check the chat real quick. Oh, Remy, look at Remy over there just getting love. Okay. Does it seem to make sense to everybody right now? Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to
Yeah,
go.
what was the fourth thing? Joy, curiosity,
Joy culture.
joy, culture. Thank you.
And so that's the goal. Culture, once something becomes in the culture, you can shift it into the political spaces. You can shift it into a lot of the other spaces that impact people. But for example, our culture is capitalist, our culture is white supremacist, our culture has a lot of those types of things. No matter what systems we create, those things are a part of it because it's in the culture, right? We'd have to shift the culture in America in order to shift the politics, in order to shift the system itself. And so we're trying to look at the pillars that go before that. What comes before that? What generates that kind of activity, that kind of interest, so that we can make it an everyday permeated thing in life. Any other questions? That makes sense so far? All right. Okay. So in terms of navigating this space, I wanted you to know there's so many options available to you, and that these options don't have to flow in a straight line. These options you can go in and out depending on your need, depending on your circumstances. I didn't mean to keep this little presentation part in there, y'all. See, that's how tired I was. Skip that. That's not me. Look on the other side, the right side. So first, I always will always have free offerings, things that are available that cost nothing. I think it's impossible to get something to be cultural if it always has a pay window behind it, right? So I need to make sure that people can share it. I need to make sure that people can talk about it. I need to make sure that people have access to the data. And so this is one of the ways that we do that. Go ahead, Damari.
I don't know if you are trying to show us different slides, but it's still on the same presentation. So if
Is
you
it
click,
really? Hmm.
yeah, click present, then we should be able to see it and you should be able to move it.
Yeah, that's what I did. Let me go back and see. Hold on 1 second. Let me exit out. Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, I clicked present. Is there something else I should click besides present?
Yep, click it again down at the bottom in the purple
Okay.
button.
Now can you see it?
It should come up in a second.
Thank you, Damari.
No, it's still.
I think you have to present it first before you share, and then share the presented window because it opens in a different window.
Okay, let me try that. So click it, share now that it's up.
Now that it's up, yes, go to share and pick that window where the presentation is showing versus the
Got it.
browser.
Let's see if it lets me do that. It's like desktop or something. Is that right? Let me see.
No, you can just do that window, but yeah, that one.
This is it? Okay, so let me see if it's letting me. Now can you see it?
Yep.
Joy pillars is what we see. Yeah.
Okay, good. Let me try to change it and you let me know if you still see it. Do you see it?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna go back because you didn't see the joy pillars. So these are the joy pillars that I was talking about. And so, Joy Curiosity, we're going to talk a lot about this year, but we will also be tapping into these other ones. For example, some of the things that are available to you that we can do together will qualify as joy experiences. Some people may decide they want this brought to their schools or their workplaces that can kind of engage in more joy politics when we engage systems and institutions. And then joy culture will be ongoing. That's like language and things that we're going to be using and introducing, and some of the tools that we'll get to permeate. So we'll tap into all of them, but we'll be sitting in the joy curiosity piece, if that makes sense. And I was saying you can skip. I didn't take the little template thing out on that where to start. So skip the thing under there. You don't see that. Let's go to the other side. I want people to be aware of the multiple ways they can tap in so that they don't feel like it's only one way, or also, excuse me, so that if circumstances shift throughout the year or if focuses shift throughout the year, you always know where you can tap in and how you can tap in. So the first is free in general, like I said. So the social media post will be geared to build on these concepts or to add prompts or activities or in just anything I can to invite you into thinking about it on a, every other day, weekly basis to keep you going on the joy curiosity train. Shaping the Shift, we're also planning to do a few episodes on joy curiosity specifically, just so that you all have a reference point to go back to. And if you haven't listened to the podcast Shaping the Shift yet, there's like 60 something episodes available to you of some great guests and some great topics that all are about clearing out the things that prevent us from living joy centered. You can sign up for a Global Joy promo pack. So what is in that pack is, I did not bring that over. Hold on one second. There's a couple of different things. There's different types of like buttons. So there's this one that says Global Joy Department. We have another one that says What Brings You Joy. We have stickers. We have more stickers coming. And then we have one of my favorite tools out of that kit, which is these What Bring You Joy. Now, you know that first banner that we had at the first start? Let me show you again. We had the little banner that you like to do. This one is also going to be in a postcard form. And on the back of these, it says, be joy curious. And it looks like you were sent a postcard, but really it's an opportunity to stop and write down what you're curiously about, what about your joy. And not just you, but it's really set for you to share it with friends, family, co-workers. It's really meant for us to send you some of these and you just kind of sprinkle them around to whoever you think needs them. So in that global pack that I'm mentioning will be buttons, stickers, maybe magnets, and these like postcards, just ways as you get excited about doing this stuff, you're going to want to have ways to talk to people about it. And we wanted you to have ways to talk to people about it. If you're an educator, if you are in a work setting, if you're in the medical setting, we wanted you to have ways to talk to clients and patients and students and parents and coworkers about this stuff. Because as you get excited about it, you can't help but talk about it. It's really infectious because it brings so much change. So we wanted you to have tools that do that. And so we'll definitely be sharing those with you. We're doing a joy events calendar that I'm really excited about. So what we're doing is having people from all over, if they're having an event that inspires, promotes any kind of way joy, we're including it on our calendar on our website. The website will relaunch January 9th. I'll tell you more about that in just a second. But we wanted a place where if you were anywhere in the world, you could find your joy in an in-person embodied way. So if you know of events that you want to share, you'll always be able to share those back with me. And I will update the website and update the events calendar so other people know about the event. And it's just another way to collaborate and make sure that everybody has spaces that they can go to that inspire joy. I think Damari mentioned something that she's talking about doing that we want to add to the calendar, or there's just different things that go on all the time, and I just wanted a space to connect and make sure people had that access. And then there's like joy tools and resources. So all of you are going to have a copy, if you don't already have a copy when you leave today, of the Blacker the Brain Joy Assessment. You might already have it, but I'm going to put it in the chat just to be safe, to make sure you have access to it. That will be part of our guiding tool throughout the whole year. And if you decide you want to continue the work next year, we'll focus on another pillar. But as we go through, I'm going to share more about this later, but there's a way I would like you to go through it. Will you go through it that way? Likely not. You know why? Because you all are a little bit like me. And you can't help yourself. You're going to want to read ahead, and that's fine. If you do, that's fine. The pace I will keep for us here is to sit in like basically one, maybe two questions in a month. No more off that assessment. And we'll talk about that in just a second. Some of the other Joy resources will be like, we'll have a Joy marketplace. So there'll be some low cost downloadable things that you can get. There'll also be, like I said, other people who are doing Joy work. I'll have resources and information on their stuff there as well. When I see you all again, hopefully next month, I'll be able to walk you through the website on where to find everything. Then there's low cost that are more group experience. So we move from like the general public into kind of more of like an incubated experience. So this is mainly going to be happening through the Patreon. The Patreon, we're going to have once a month Joy session check-ins where I just want to be available to you for like an hour and a half to 2 hours. And we're doing real-time troubleshooting about joy, right? Because it ain't easy. Some of my people on here from Joy Centered Living know that we can start off really strong and then something knocks the wind out of us and we feel like we have to choose between joy and sadness, joy and anger, joy and feeling broke, all these different things, joy and heartbreak, right? We feel like we have to choose that programming kicks back in, and then we start shaming ourselves for not being able to find the joy. I want to eliminate a lot of that. So meeting once a month through the Patreon will allow us, the people who are a little bit more focused on really prioritizing this year, I wanted a space for them. It doesn't matter which of the paid tiers you join, as long as you join one so that you have access to that. And then also they will have exclusive content and discounts available through the marketplace. So they will also be able to get discounted material through the marketplace. And if, I plan to have, I'm not going to tell you who, but I do have some people in mind to come through and visit us in the Patreon, because I can't do things in order to save my life, but I envision 2 to 3 retreats this year, which brings us to the intimate and immersive a little too quickly. So let me go back. In addition, when the low cost, I'm trying to be better in 2025. I am trying to be better. There's going to be some in-person events in addition to that virtual event. So I'm negotiating with a local record store here in LA to do an event called Another Star Sundays. It's based on Stevie Wonder's Another Star. As soon as that song starts up, I just want to dance and move. And what I want is a place for us to shake the shit off once a month. I think we're clear that next year will likely be a bit of a shit show. So I think we need a space to not think about the shit show and to just live. I should say this year is going to be really different for people who had done my work before as well, because this year I'm going to be on your ass about doing and not overthinking. We're not going to be thinking a lot this year. I'm looking at you, Jim. We're not going to be thinking a lot this year. Me and you, where's Jennifer? Jennifer's all here. We're not. We're going to be doing. And I know we had to deprogram ourselves from so much doing, right? To be in our being and to be aware. And now we're ready to go back and start doing. So we're not going to spend a lot of time second guessing ourselves. We're not going to spend a lot of time questioning ourselves or holding ourselves to really ridiculous standards of things. We're going to enjoy the progress we've been making. We're going to make more progress, but we're going to do. We're not going to overthink this year because we can't think our way out of this. We're not going to think our way out of this. situation in this world the way it is right now. But we can trust what we've built and start to do more. So another Star Sundays I'm super excited about. It's like a midday dance party. I hope I have some tambourines, some fans. I just want to make it ignorant. I just want to have a good time and have great DJs, very high vibrational. And other events like that that are happening will be in the Joy Events calendar. I'll probably also be partnering with some local bookstores for events as well. So I'll just keep all those posted through the Patreon and on the website. So that's more group. That's people who want to take a step in deeper with the work. And then the most intimate and immersive, and some of my people who've been with me on the retreats know, are retreats. I am envisioning potentially three. Um, and there could be some day retreats. I do have access to a space where I could do day retreats once a quarter. And so I'm envisioning what that could look like for people to come out for the day and spend their whole day in these joy curious, like in like a joy curious bubble, and feel it in their bodies. But also I love a good retreat. And so I'm looking to partner with someone, a couple people, to do a couple things that I'm not going to talk about yet because I'm getting ahead of myself. And for those of you who really, really want to go deeper or feel like you need that level of nurturing and accountability, we can talk about one-to-one joy sessions and building that out and what that could look like. Instead of just putting it out there here's the model, I kind of prefer to deal with people one-on-one and curate it. And that way I know the length of time they need. I need the kind of care they need. And so you can reach out to me and we can discuss what that can look like. And then just the Global Joy Awareness Campaign, which means making sure you have the Global Joy promo pack, sharing information, amplifying our efforts, and sharing about your experiences. So that's just us getting it into the culture, saturating it like we've talked about. Any questions about these? And remember, these aren't like in linear. Like you can tap in and out of how you need them. I just needed you to see the the landscape of what's being built out so that you feel comfortable knowing you can tap in at any place you need to at any given time. I will say with the retreats, the more expensive the retreat, the further out in the year I'm going to do it so that there's the most possible time if someone wants to go and they want to do payments. So the ones closer will be probably domestic, or I think the furthest would be Hawaii. And then the ones, then there may be Egypt or another place I'm looking at. Yeah, I reserve the right to choose my joy at the highest level, and I got levels. I like to take any questions about this aspect of it and how to tap in. Now is a good time for me to actually put in the chat before I forget I'm going to put in the chat now for everyone the joy assessment, the Black of the Brain joy assessment, and there's a one sheet for the assessment that I'll also make sure you have. No questions? Everybody's got this down pat? That's amazing. I'm not doubting you. I believe you. I just want to make sure. Go ahead, Jim.
The Patreon
Mhm.
business, is your Patreon right now ready? Like, are there levels? Like, what's the
What does it look
Patreon?
like?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's basically I set up the tiers that are there, and any of the tiers, people can choose a tier according to their what they can do and what they want to do. But any of the tiers that are on there, any of the paid tiers will get access to the monthlies and the exclusive content, and also the discount on anything in the marketplace. There's going to be a set discount for Patreon members already. So, and that, yeah, if there's any questions about that, you can also email me. But yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Any other questions about the in-person stuff or connecting other events to this work, the retreats even? Even though I'm dreaming that up still a bit, we're getting really close to me cracking down on that one. I'm excited about that. Okay. So then I want to give you an overview of the first 2 months. Again, because we're overthinkers, and I say we because I am an overthinker, I'm not going to tell you everything that's coming this year. I can't do it because if I do, one, you're going to try to do it too fast, or two, I may change my mind. This world is a little nutty and things change from month to month. And I might be like, we were going to go there, but now we're going to make a left. I like being able to have that kind of flexibility. So in January, we're defining joy. So I have this working definition that I will share. I'll put it in the Patreon. I'll also make sure that it's accessible through social media. This is my working definition, but you are going to be defining a working definition for yourself. It can look like mine, it could be parts of mine, it could be your own completely. But the first question on the joy assessment is, how do you currently define joy? That is your first assignment. That is the first thing that you're going to be sitting with. And I'm not going to let off of that till February 1st. You're going to be in that question. And here's why. I want us to learn how to live it, how to live the question. If every day I'm living the question, how do I define joy? I'm attracting opportunities to experience things that will help me to clarify that definition. You see what I'm saying? Just by having it in my mind in the morning, I wonder today what I will experience that will help me to define joy. You have a whole month to figure out this definition. You don't have to. So you're sitting in it, you're living it, and you're attracting things to you that are going to help you define it. It's like dating the question, but good dates, because we know that can go either way. But it's like dating the question, right? Dating is about learning about yourself. So when you jump in and you're like, this is the one, and you give the definition right off the bat, it's usually more aspirational. I find that when people try to rush that question, they're aspiring to that type of joy, or that's the kind of joy they think they should have, or, they saw on TV. I want the real definition because that's the definition you're going to be walking with the rest of the year. And again, that may change some, but the core of it probably will be pretty, pretty, pretty solid. So you're going to live that question. And how I'm going to help you with that is we're going to have the monthly check-in, and then the site goes live. So everything I'm talking about, the marketplace, all that will be up and running and clear on the actual website. That happens to also be my Oya anniversary. And Marley Ayo's anniversary are all on January 9th. So we're doing everything on that day. The goal is in January to also have out some of the Joy Curious episodes to support you in that exploration, and they will focus on these things we're talking about, like defining. And the marketplace will be open, and I'll start shipping out the Global Joy Pack. So there's an interest form. I'll put the link for that in the chat as well. When you do the interest form, you can say, what do you want out of this experience? Like, where are you in your joy curiosity level? Some of you have already completed it. And if you're interested in getting a Global Joy Pack, the only reason you wouldn't get one is because I'm out of money, I'm out of supplies. But as long as I got a couple dollars to go on Vistaprint, I'm gonna keep the party going. And I'll be sending them out. I'll send out what I have. I won't always be able to say this many buttons or this many stickers, but I will always put something together to make sure I get it out to you. For us, what we're doing is we're just like, I grab me every day. We're putting them in mailboxes as we walk. We're going to the local cafe. We're asking if we could put it down. And then I'm interested. Sometimes I sit there and I watch people fill them out. And it's kind of cool to see people in action using this tool. I would love to get them to educators. And like I said, anybody that interacts with the public. So take them with you, keep them in your bag, and just hand them out. And as long as I have them here, I will be supplying them to you. If you want to contribute to that by being on the Patreon, fine. All those things are helpful, but I'm not mandating any of that to get the Global Joy Packs. In February, we moved to embodiment. So we're going to be moving more into like how joy feels in our bodies. And so this month will be, looking at, when we do our check-ins, how challenging has it been to like put that definition into motion? what comes up in our bodies when we try to and we meet with resistance. These types of things we're going to be teasing out. It's also going to be the launch of our first in-person. So because I want to do more embodied in-person things this year, that'll be the day that we launch the first in-person, and that'll be fun. And it's Black History Month, so we're going to focus on Black joy and boundaries, because by then some foolishness will probably already have gone down, and I just need to make sure that Black women ain't hopping their happy asses in the mix. I'm just, for if you haven't never met me before, welcome. I cuss. I can't. They gotta park it for a while. And so a lot of the content will be about boundaries. And even though it's targeting Black women, I feel like everybody can value and benefit from a conversation about Black joy and boundaries, because part of the reason we don't have joy is we don't do well with boundaries. And part of the challenge, really, I mean, Jim, Dav, and have some people on here have been in the Joy Center living. I would say a good high percentage. We don't have a problem like having our joy. We have a problem keeping it. We have a problem like not letting people in and not giving it away. Like that is really the challenge. So we'll be building up joy tolerance throughout this year. Why? Because as we build to these experiences, for example, like I showed you, starting with the free one, which is it's a great place to start, by the way. Listening to Shaping the Shift, engaging the social media content. How does that make you feel? Do you clam up when you think about joy, or think about the things you have to do or the changes you have to make when joy is present? And, are you willing to expand? Are you scared of expanding? So it's not just the questions about what's making you feel small. It's the questions about how you feel when you get bigger. When you get bigger, a lot of us get very sabotagey. No judgment. We get sabotagey. And then we start looking for people to fix and looking for shit to get into. We got to look at, really, our pain tolerance is so well developed, but our joy tolerance is in its infancy. So each time we're moving through these processes and through these different interactions, we're really looking at, as one coach told me one time, how good can you stand it? This is like all relationships, partnerships, friends. How good can you really stand it? If you can discuss what your dream job is, your dream opportunity. Is that the dream you think you can get, or is that the dream you would really, really want? And do you say, I can't have that one because, that would interfere with this happened over here, or this person over here, or my mom wouldn't like that, or my partner wouldn't like that? We have to look at the way that expanding in our joy leads to a completely different set of behaviors than contracting from it. And so throughout this whole time, we'll be looking at joy tolerance building. So the Another Star Sunday, like I said, I think I want to partner with a local bookstore. We're in talks about that for an event, and I'll keep you posted on that. I'm also trying to figure out how to stream these events so that people in the Patreon can also see and participate. And I'll continue to ship out the global packs, but I'm going to do a little bit of focus on schools. So if you know schools or educators who are interested in February, I'll be targeting them a little bit more and adding some additional courses. Really, as we go through this, as I hear needs, as you guys tell me more needs, and we have feedback, I will add courses that help to meet those needs or help you to walk through them so you have access to things that will be ongoingly helpful. Does that make sense? Any questions about these? So we're just going to focus this first part on defining and embodying. And that's plenty of work. Trust me. That'll look at Jacqueline. That's plenty of work. Trust me. Damari and I just did workshops on this joy thing, and yes, it'll be plenty. It sounds so little, but it's really not little at all. That's part of my trick, is to make it sound little. Any questions on that so far? Are we good? Okay, good. So this last part I want to really hone in on is the Black of the Brain Joy Assessment. If you don't have it, I put it in the chat. Some of you might already have it. I can give it to you 1,000 times, however many times you need it. It's a free tool. And there's a fact sheet about it. I think this is an important guide to have with you as we do our work together, because It was developed by our cohort, the Blacker the Brain. We had 5 fire stewards who came together over a series of months, and we made sure we had joy creating it for you all. But we also wanted to make sure it could cause the least amount of harm in the hands of systems or educators or doctors. We wanted a way to assess people from a joy-centered perspective. And what we find is the data that we get using joy-based questions is vast because it invites in all those possibilities that we talked about at the beginning, including the possibility that the questioner doesn't know what they're doing or talking about. How can we? As a recovering therapist, I know for a fact I can't know the answer to your problem. Only you can know that answer. And if I ask questions that target the problem, I'm targeting that based on my training, not because I'm scared of you saying something outside of my training and I don't know how to answer, right? But when I do it from a joy-centered space, I'm making you in charge of your healing process. I'm making you in charge of your choice and how you want to engage education. And I get to witness and support and hold space for that realization. It's very empowering for both the person asking the questions and the individual being asked. However, it could also be something that you do on your own. I encourage parents to do with their children, especially if they're pissed at them. If there's a kid that's been tap dancing on your last nerve, if you're an educator and this kid comes to your class and is disruptive, you want to knock them out, but you can't. It's not right. Hit them with one of these questions from the joy assessment. The last thing a kid who's been targeted for problems is going to expect is for the adult in their life to ask them about their joy. And you have to ask yourself, am I even exhibiting joy? Because here if I'm a kid, I'm not listening to somebody that don't seem happy. I mean, that's just wisdom. Not even if I'm a kid, if I'm as an adult, if somebody's like, you know what you should do, and they are always irritable and miserable, I'm like, yeah, tell me what to do so I can do the opposite. Boo, you don't seem happy. Right? So this assessment, again, even I've made my peace with the fact that you're probably going to read it straight through. I've accepted it. I've made my peace. But there are guidelines that are more helpful, and I'm not going to rush straight through. I am going to only work with one question per month, and I will send you prompts and I will send you clues about things to tease out that question a little bit more. Some of the ways, again, you'll encounter that is through social media. Also, if you're on here, you're probably on the newsletter list as well. So you'll get a newsletter from me. And I'll be updating in the Patreon. So this assessment tool is free. It's available to you. There's a fact sheet on it. If you have any questions about it, please let me know. The Blacker the Brain is available to support us with this as well. And also good news, we got accepted to present on this thanks to Christina pushing us to apply, but we're presenting at a conference at Hampton University. And it was the first time we're going to be taking the metric to a conference. So we're very excited to get it in as many spaces as we can. Okay, so this is just like you could take a picture of this. This is just like a screenshot of like where if you want to start anywhere. So one, make sure you're following so that you can see all the social media content. You can email me if you have any additional questions about how to tap in, about specific needs you may have so that I can make sure that those needs are met. You can complete the interest form, which I'm going to put a link in the chat for that. That way I know if you want the global pack, but even more, I know where you are in your journey and what you may need from me in this experience over the next year, what kind of support. You can look at the Patreon options and decide if you want to sign up there. You can catch up on Shaping the Shift. In January, we're doing a free gift to folks who sign up in the Patreon. I mean, that starts now because it's January. So starting today, we'll be offering a free gift. Designed by my daughter again, to people who join during this time, and then get familiar, but don't start, quizzing everybody on this joy assessment. You can peruse.